Hi guys, welcome to my second video lesson. I know it's been a long time since the last one, but I finally got around to it. I had a few requests last time to do a lesson on strumming, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to keep it fairly brief, but I'm going to give you all the basics to help you on your way to correct strumming technique. So for me, because I'm right-handed when I play, my right hand is doing the strumming. Now, the basics to start with, okay? So the two types of stroke you can do with the right hand, okay? You can do a downstroke, which is obviously when you play through the strings towards the ground. Opposite of that would be the upstroke, when you play towards the ceiling, which is like that. So that's the two combined. So the first thing you want to do is get used to the upstroke, because everyone can kind of do a downstroke fairly easily, but the upstroke takes a bit more time to get used to. Now, a few tips to help you on your way when doing this. If you look at my arm, as I do it, a lot of the arm is doing this kind of movement, okay? But also, my wrist does a very, very slight flick, if you see, as I come through. Now, I'm not actually playing all the strings when I do the upstroke. I'm not going through them all like that. But if you listen, if I combine it with the downstroke, you don't really need to go through all the strings, so I'll show you. So as I come up, I'm only really making contact with the top 4 strings, but it's so quick, it sounds like it's the whole chord. So that's kind of one of the tips, that you don't need to force your way through the chord on the upstroke in order to get the right effect. So there are a couple of little pointers. Also, when you hold the pick, because I'm using a pick, and this is what this video is all about. I'll do some fingerstyle lessons at a later date, but this is mainly just for people who use plectrums. And I'd advise anyone who doesn't to start getting used to them, because fingerstyle is amazing. That's my favourite kind of playing. But you do need a pick sometimes, so I'd advise pick a few of these up and get playing with them. So yeah, in terms of when you grip the pick, you want to have, it needs to be comfortable, it needs to feel like it's not going to move about, but you don't want to grip it too tight, because then you're going to create tension in your arm, which is going to inhibit your playing, but also in the long term it's going to give you pain along here. So somewhere in between, a grip that's firm enough and relaxed enough that you feel the pick's not going to move, but not too tight that you feel tension in your arm. So as you work on your upstroke, you want to start understanding how that's incorporated into a strumming technique. Now, if we think of music, and the majority of popular music at least, is thought of in kind of bars of 4. So, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to count in beats of 4, okay? And now you can start being creative with those beats. Obviously, the most basic version of demonstrating a full count would be just 4 downstrokes. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's us playing on each beat, okay, just with 4 downstrokes and 1 downstroke on each beat. The next thing will be to bring in our upstroke, and that needs to happen in between our downstrokes. So if we think that the beats or the downbeats are 1, 2, 3, 4, between those we're going to put an upstroke. And the way we count this is we use ands. We go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But it's a very even count. So if this is the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So my upstrokes come on those ands. So that's the next thing you can do to kind of build up your technique with the right hand, is playing on the ands. Now you can do this at different speeds. You can do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and everything in between. You can just take it nice and slow. So that's the first thing to get used to, playing on the upstrokes between the downbeats on the upbeats. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So incorporating those. So that's the first thing. We're just going to play the whole thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's our kind of standard down and upstroke. But then you can start being creative. And on certain beats you can just play down beats, and then on certain ones you can incorporate the upstroke. So for example, I'm going to do beats 1 and 2 are just going to be downstrokes, no upstroke, and then 3 and 4 I'm going to put an upstroke in between. Okay, and it's going to sound like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Okay, so what I was doing there, 2 downstrokes and 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 and. Okay, you can do that with any beats in the bar. That's just one example. You can get creative. You could have an and between 1 and 2, and then the rest could be just downstrokes. But I'll leave it to you to start improvising, because that's what, you know, we're all creative people. So that's what makes music interesting. Starting to experiment. So that's a little kind of tip. The next thing would be to divide our beats in half again. So at the moment we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So for each beat we're managing to fit 2 notes in. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and. You can then divide it into quarters. So we have 4 notes per beat. So that will sound like this. So if I slow it down, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. So that was 4 beats. Sorry, not 4 beats. 4 strokes per beat. So it's down up per beat. So down up 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 down up. So that's a little quicker. So that's going to take longer to get used to. But that's another example of how you can divide it up. So the most basic version would be 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. Now, when you get used to that, and when that becomes second nature, which is going to take some time, then you'll find that you can start accentuating certain parts of the beat. So if there's 4 notes per beat, you can choose to accent certain ones. You can choose to accent the first and the 4th note of that beat. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3. That's just an example. But that's, you get to that point when you're used to this feel enough that you'll just start creating your own kind of strumming patterns without even realising. So I'll give you an example. Okay. So that's just using, I'm thinking in the principle of dividing each beat up into 4, which in musical terms is known as dividing it into semiquavers, okay, 4 notes per beat. And then I was just kind of accentuating certain semiquavers in a bar. You'll probably notice that my hand as I play is always moving like that, and I'm not playing every note, but that's just through practice, and you'll get to that point, because I'm so used to playing semiquavers that my hand's moving in that constantly, and then I just choose to hit the strings on certain beats. Okay, so that's a few pointers. You'll also notice probably that I'm tapping my foot. Now I can't emphasise the importance of that enough. You really need to have that inner metronome. Some people just find, you know, that they just nod their head to it, but you need to find that inner pulse. It could be tapping your foot, and I'd suggest that would be the best way to start. Tap your foot and set your tempo. So that's your 1, 2, see my knee, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then use that as your metronome, and don't stray from that. So everything you play will be in time with your knee. Another way to do it obviously would be using a metronome. You can download an app if you've got iPhones or Androids. Just find a metronome app and you can select a speed of a click and you can play to that. So if you get one of those, find the metronome, find the click, set a speed that you're comfortable with, then tap your foot to that click and don't play anything until you're locked in. And then you can start experimenting. To start with our downbeats and just making sure you hit the click each time, and then add our upstroke in between, so on the 1 and 2 and 3 and then if you've got that down, maybe slow down the metronome slightly and then try the semiquavers or the 4 notes per beat and see you get on. Any questions, just leave me a message and I'll do a video response or something like that. Have fun, guys, and I'll see you very soon for another lesson. Cheers.